Thank you so much for joining us here at Indigo Moon. You know, one of the biggest learning tools, lessons, is usually you observing your parents, you observing the people in your surroundings. And usually, when you're growing up, you have that one on one time with your parents where they give you different lessons because you don't want to just take your kids to school and expect the teacher to teach everything because the teacher cannot teach everything. The learning starts at home. Growing up, I had been put on the train by myself. And one of the reasons why my grandmother said that was such a poor idea was because being a little girl, first of all, and there could be all sorts of problems can happen. There's crowds of people in New York City. Anything can happen. And of course, it was during rush hour. My father had a meeting to go to. And he pulled up and he said, look, I got a meeting to go to. You need to get on the train. First of all, I don't know why your mother keeps on babying you. You need to get on the train. And it's not that hard. You just get on the train, go a couple of stops, and then you'll be there already, okay? And he gave me, he gave me like quick directions. And I couldn't remember all the directions, but I was smart enough to, when I got to the turnstile, I had to put my token in. When I put my token in, I went to the person who was there, the police officer, and I asked for direction. Now, this was something that, we were being taught in school to go to the police officer because the police officer is your trustworthy person. And back then, you didn't have the same issues that you have now. Then there was another time where all of us were in a car and my father had to go to a business meeting. But he said he had to make a stop and he'll be real quick. A lot of us, because it was such a long drive, I think where we were going was almost in Long Island. And all of us were in the car, and, we were tired because the drive was long. You used to go to sleep in the car as, the drive, proceeds. So we got there, and we were fighting in the car because we were like, who saw him which way he went? Nobody saw which way he went. And my older brother, he was like, somebody should have been awake. I was tired. I came in late, so we're all arguing or what have you. So the problem was that we had to go to the bathroom. We were hungry. And a lot of times my mother would pack something for us to take with us because sometimes she didn't know if we were going to eat. He would argue, they would have a disagreement about taking us because sometimes, my brother would say, or I would say, sometimes, he doesn't, we sit in the car for long lengths of time. My mother said, don't worry, he'll take you to where you need to go or whatever. Now, outside of leaving us at the library sometimes, again, this happened. So somehow we realized where he went. We looked upstairs because he left. Apparently, he had written down the number of the house that he was going to. But somehow he wrote it down, and his handwriting was, kind of complicated at times. But the numbers were always right because he'd take a 7 and cross the 7, And I don't know how, but we were able to figure it out. So we went one by one. Once my sister saw it, I went, no, it wasn't my sister, Joe, my older brother. He started going first. I think he went first. And then I went with in fact, I don't think my little sister was with us. I think my younger brother was with us. So anyway, all three of us ended up at this house. And the woman had been, baking in the kitchen. And while baking in the kitchen, of course she was making something, but she was looking, at first when she answered the door when it was my older brother, she said, are you sure you have the right? And he said, I think my dad is here. And she said, oh. So she let him in, showed him where the bathroom was. And then there was another knock at the door, myself and my younger brother. So now we were all in this woman's house, and my father was trying to conduct business, but the man had been on the phone in another room. My father was sitting on a chair, and he had his feet up on the ottoman. Now, I know this woman was thinking that it's cold outside. The car, he took the keys, so we were cold in the car. We hadn't had food, and now we're in these people's home. And the woman was, she'd baked something, so she had us sit down, and she gave us a slice of the cake that she'd made or what have you. And she went in and excused herself and went into the office with her husband. I'm sure that woman told the husband, that how could you trust a man who would leave his children in the car, and it's cold as a day it was, and went on, and that's the reason why he was unable to seal the deal. People watch the way that you treat the people closest to you. If you mistreat these people, how do you treat others? How do you conduct business? This woman, sometimes a man will bring a wife with him to seal the deal. You got to look at the way in which a person treats other people. Now, my father figure might not have looked at the full picture at the time, but in anything, you have to treat others the way that you would want to be treated. And that's the whole point. We sometimes make mistakes. Sometimes our mind is all over the place. Don't take the children with you when you're doing this. We could have stayed home. In fact, my younger brother used to be at the house with us all the time anyway. He could have just let us stay there, go to his meeting, and then come back and pick us up. We have to think about the children. We can't just make these haphazard decisions and not consider how another person might feel. It was cold out there. And, children are prone to catching colds. One day it's warm, one day it's cold. Either way, let us keep the children in mind when we're making different choices. The choice you make for yourself is the choice you make for yourself. But when it comes to extended people, like children, you have to give, that consideration. So thank you for joining us, Indigo Moon.